Hey guys, this is Mitch with FinePoint CGI, and today we're going to go ahead and set up Godot to pull your location on Android. So we're going to go through the process of downloading the plugin. We are going to compile the plugin and import it into Godot. We are going to set up a small interface for you to be able to see your location and things like that. And we are going to go about building and compiling and setting up your location information for Godot. So this video has a few prerequisites. You're going to need to go ahead and have your Android set up, and you're going to need to go ahead and have custom exporting set up inside of Godot as well. If you haven't done that before, I have a couple tutorials linked below, and I will be more than happy to guide you guys through that. I plan on making an updated version of that tutorial, but this should guide you through most of it. If you have any questions, just throw them in the comments. So that's what I have in store for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to download our source code so we can build our plugin. So what I'm going to be downloading is the Godot Location Plugin by Kadask. I don't know how to say his name, but he's a pretty cool little developer. He's got some cool little add-ons. So go ahead and check them out. I have it in a link in a description below. Now, at the time of this writing, there is a bug inside of the location code that causes some issues. I lost like 5 hours of tutorial building for fixing this, but I threw out a pull request for it. So you guys will be able to at least get code that will work at this time. So I'm going to also leave a link to my repo of it, which is right here. And we're going to go ahead and pull down my own repo so that we can go ahead and do this tutorial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the little download icon. We're going to download a zip, and we are going to save it. Editor note, before you guys go ahead and download this, go ahead and move to a different branch here. You're going to want to click on branches and move to my fix here. So that way you can actually pull down the correct code. Because if you pull down the master branch, if they haven't merged in my code, then you guys aren't going to actually successfully be able to run this plugin properly. So make sure you guys go to my bug fix, and if it's been merged, then don't worry about it. But if it hasn't, I want to make sure that you guys are good. So make sure you guys go to my branch and then go from there. Thanks, guys. All right. So now we're going to open up our downloads folder. We are going to extract this. Awesome. And now that it's extracted, let's go ahead and open up Android Studio. All right, so now that we have Android Studio open, what we're going to do is we're going to open an existing project. We are going to go to our users, download, and our project, which is the Godot Location Plugin 1.1, which is my version of it. And then we will go ahead and click on that and hit OK. So that's going to go ahead and load, and you'll notice that Android Studio opens. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on the little hammer here, and we're going to try to build it. And let's see what happens. Okay, so you see we have unresolved reference Godot engine. So you can see that this highlights red. Well, what that means is it means that we have to go out to our Godot downloads and download the AAR library for Android plugins. So if you go down to wherever you need to download Godot, so Godot engine /downloads, so where you would normally download Godot, you can just come down here and go ahead and download this. So you just click on it, save, and it's going to go ahead and start downloading. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go to File, New, Module, and then we are going to scroll down to import jar AAR file. So we're going to hit next, and then we are going to click on this little icon here, little folder icon, and that's going to allow us to go to our downloads folder and then go to our Godot lib 3.3.2 stable release. So we're going to hit OK, and we are going to hit finish. So now it's going to go ahead and try to sync and build, but you'll notice that we still have red here. Okay, and that means that we still don't have our reference. And even if we right click and show context, it doesn't actually allow us to import our reference. So what we need to do is we need to come down here. We need to open up our Gradle script. We need to open up our location plugin, and we need to come down to our dependencies and type in implementation project. We're going to say path :space single quote colon, and we're going to want to follow this exact name here. So, because we're implementing this specific project here. So we're going to say Godot -lib dot 3.3.2 dot stable dot release. And that's going to allow us to build from now on. So if we go ahead and save that, we come over here and we attempt to, run our build. Let's see what happens. Awesome. So now you see that it says build successful. See that? So now what we can do is we can go out to our location plugin, and we can go out to our location plugin here, and we can go to build, and we can go to outputs, AAR, and you will see that we have our little AAR file that we're going to use for our Godot project. So now what we need to do is we need to create our Godot project. So let me go ahead and execute Godot and add a new project. Let's name it location demo project. Let's go ahead and create the folder and create and edit. It's always the hardest part for me is naming these projects. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add in a user interface for later because we're going to need it, and we're going to save and call it demo.tscn. And now what we're going to do is we are going to install our Android build template. So let's go ahead and install that. And then we're going to come down to our RES. We are going to open in File Manager. You're going to see that there's an Android folder here. So we're going to open that up. We're going to go to plugins, and then you'll see that this folder is empty, right? So what we need to do is we need to go out to our AAR that we previously compiled here, copy it, paste it in here, and now we have our plugin, but we need to instruct Godot on how to use the plugin, right? So we need to have a GDAP file, which is provided for you. If you go back to the location plugin, there is a GDAP file here. So you want to make sure it's the debug one because I didn't do a release build. So just go ahead and just do the debug one for now. Awesome. So now that we have that, let's go back to Godot. Let's go to our project and let's go to export here. So now that we have our exports, let's go to add Android. Let's turn on custom building and let's turn on the location plugin. Awesome. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and test our build. So let's go ahead and try to build it, and let's let it kind of run through the paces, make sure that all the kinks are worked out and that everything operates the way that we expect it to. All right, so it looks like it built correctly, and we can verify that by just going out to our file manager, and if we see a little APK here, we've built it out successfully. So we've done ourselves a good job. So now at this point, we can start building our little user interface here. So let's go ahead and right click, add in a child node. Let's add in a button because we're going to need to go and get our location information, right? So let's add a huge button here because it's way easier to press. Get location info. And then we're going to right click, add in a child node. We are going to add in a vertical box container here. We're going to drag this over here, and we are going to right click, add in a rich text label here. You'll see there's a rich text label, and we are going to make that size 25. So that way we can type our stuff. Now we need to know what we can get back from our plugin. So let's go back to our plugin here. And let's take a look at it. So if you look at this little plugin and you scroll down, you'll see some location signals. So these are some things that we can actually use. If we scroll down, we can look at our methods here. So here's our plugin method. So these are the things that we can call. And if we scroll down a little bit more, we'll see that there is a section here where we are creating a dictionary that has all of our data. So we're going to want this information. So let's go ahead and go like this. And let's copy longitude. Let's rename this longitude text. And say longitude. Then we're going to go ahead and just duplicate this a few times. I think 7 times will be okay. We will come over here. We'll say latitude. Latitude text. And we'll change this to latitude. We're going to go to accuracy. So accuracy text. Vertical accuracy in meters. And we'll do the same thing. And this one is called altitude. So let's grab that. And we'll change this to altitude. And this one is speed. And the last one is time. I think I can do time without needing to copy and paste it. And time. Awesome. So now that we got that, let's go ahead and duplicate this VBox container. And let's just call this values. And let's drag this over. So if we go ahead and lock this like that, so I can grab it all. Let's just drag it over like this. And let's change this. Get rid of our space and go value. I prefer, if it's something that I'm going to be changing, that I get rid of the space. And actually, I'll just do this the easy way. Let's copy it, right? Awesome. So now that I've got all of that, we've got all of our data here. It's going to populate right here. It's going to be great. So now let's go ahead and attach our script, and let's call it location demo. All right, and we're going to do it in GD script. So first things first, let's go ahead and connect our button. So go to our node on button down, and let's just send that over here. So that way this is already populated and we're already good. So the first thing we need to do is we need to ask for permissions. So to get location, you need to ask for permissions. So let's go ahead and do get_tree.connect quote on _request _permissions _result comma self comma quote result. And what I'm doing here is I'm basically just saying, hey, go call a function called result. And we'll go ahead and make that function in a second. So then we need to go if os dot request _permissions. Then I want, so if I go ahead and I successfully requested my permissions, then I want to go result, right, and call that result function and pass in an empty string and an OK, so a true, saying, yeah, we successfully got our permissions. So now what we need to do is we need to create our result function. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's say func result. And we will say, hey, we want to take in a permission, comma, granted. Okay, so we're going to take in a Boolean saying, hey, was permission granted? And we're going to say, what permissions do we have? Now, in general, we don't need this, but this callback here returns the permissions. So you have to catch that, except that data, or else it just won't work properly. So we do need that in there. So if it is granted, then we can go ahead and get our singleton, right? So we need to say, hey, if engine dot has _singleton. And in our case, our singleton Now, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, go out and get the plugin, right? Singleton is just synonymous with plugin at this point for at least the plugin side. If you go to your projects and you go to your export and you look at your location plugin and hover over it, you see this little section here that says, well, if I try to move my mouse over it, it doesn't work. But if you see this little section here that says plugins/location plugin, that's how you know what the name is. So you can see it's called location plugin without a space. So we're going to call it location plugin. And then we're going to go ahead and say, okay, so the engine has it. Now we need to set it. So we're going to say var singleton is equal to get or engine dot get singleton. And we're going to say go ahead and grab this singleton. Great. So now that we have our singleton, what we need to do is we need to set up our signals. So if we go back to our little location plugin here, and I re-drag this over here for you guys, you can see that we have these little signals here that we can call. So you can see these are our methods, right? Like I said earlier, and then we have some signals here, right here, that we can call. So on location update, on last known location, on location error. So we're going to need to pull those signal, and we're going to need to pull that signal information. So let's go ahead and create our little singleton connects. So singleton.connect, right? Quote, and we'll just go ahead and pull on location updates. So do that, comma, self, comma, and I need a space here. There we go. I just don't like not having a space. And we'll say got location update. And then we're going to go ahead and copy and paste this a few times. And we're going to grab our last known location and our on location error. And we're going to call these got last known and got an error. Awesome. So now that we have that, we need to create our functions. So say func. I really wish they did func with a K. It'd be a lot cooler. Func got location update. And we're going to go ahead and pass that for right now. And if you look at your got location update, you can see that it takes a dictionary or it receives a dictionary. So we're going to need to put a dictionary in here. So let's just call it location data. So we'll just call it lock data. And then let's go ahead and just copy this, because if you look at our next one, we have on last known location, and it gives you a dictionary as well. So we can just basically just take this and copy it. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll say got last known location, right? And then finally we have func got error. And this takes in two parameters. It takes in our error and our message. And we're going to go ahead and pass that as well. Awesome. So now that we've got this, we need to tell our project to go ahead and start our location updating. So we can say singleton dot start location updates. And our first one is our pool interval. And I'm going to set that to 6,000. And our other one is our wait time. How long is it willing to wait before it gets our location? Like if for instance, they're in a bad connection area, how long is it going to wait until the location, until it says, hey, I can't find location anymore? And we're going to say, I don't know, about 10 seconds. I think that that's fair. And these are all done in milliseconds here. So 10 seconds should work fine. So now that we have all of this, we still have a little bit more to go, and that is going and fetching our last known location. So let's go singleton dot get last no location. Awesome. And I'm going to make sure that I spelled that correctly because I'm awful at spelling. So let me come down here and find our little functions. Get last no location. So let me come up here. All right, I think that's going to be okay. Now, one of the things you notice is we're trying to call our singleton from outside of our function, right? Outside of this little function. So we're going to need to pull this singleton out. So let's pull this out and go var singleton. And that will allow us to access it outside of there. So that way when we press our button, we can pull our last known location and we don't have to worry about having these issues here. So now that we're here, let's go ahead and hook up our values. So now we need to hook up our interface so it shows all these values, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to say $ longitude values dot text is equal to, and we're going to cast this as a string. So we're going to say lock data dot, and it's going to come back as, if we look at our code here, it's going to come back, if we scroll down a little bit, as longitude. Let's go ahead and grab that. Awesome. And I'm going to control D these a couple of times. And I'm going to say latitude. Looks like I got to be careful with that. So I'll do this and we'll say accuracy. And we'll say vertical. And we'll say altitude. We will say speed. And we're going to say time. Awesome. So now that we have all of this, we can just go ahead and copy and paste these. So dot latitude, dot accuracy, dot vertical alignment or vertical accuracy, dot altitude, dot speed, and dot time. And the reason why I'm casting these all as string is if I don't cast them and they happen to be integers, we're going to have a problem on our hands. The entire thing is going to basically collapse on us. And we also need to hook up our interface on last known location. So what I'm going to do is instead of keeping all the values in here, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to create another function. And I'm going to call it update user interface. And I'll pass in that dictionary as well. And the reason why I'm doing this, and I'm doing this little bit of refactoring, is I don't want to repeat myself. You should always try to use the dry principle where you don't repeat yourself if you can. So that's why I'm refactoring this a little bit, so that way we're not repeating ourselves. And I know what you're saying. Why not just call one of these functions, right? Why not just have, on last known location, just get location updates, right? Just use this one, or call from this one, call this function. And the reason why is because you might want to treat got last known different than got location update, right? Because got location update is different than last known. Last known is useful if, for instance, you lose network or something like that, or somehow the parameters failed on us. Or if somehow the location failed on us, we can actually still use our system, and we can handle it differently if we want to. All right, so now that we're at this point, let's go ahead and export our project and see how it goes. This might work and it might not. So let's go ahead and take a look and let's see what happens. So let's save it. And then let's go to our project. Well, not project settings, project, export. And let's make sure, because this is a location plugin, we're going to need to access our course and find location. Let's go ahead and turn both of those on. And let's go ahead and close this. And since I've already plugged in my phone, you'll see this little Android guy pops up. So that helps me tremendously because I can just click this little button and I can select my main scene, and it'll go ahead and just run it on my Android device. So you'll see first it pops up with allow location. Yep, I totally want to allow my location. And then if I hit get lock information, you'll see that my latitude and my longitude has been updated and my accuracy and all of that. Now I've blurred it out so you guys can't see it just because obviously I don't want to dox myself on the internet because that's not a good idea. But you can see that it already works. And if I close the application and I reopen it, you'll notice that it executes and it runs and pulls our information. So that's really all you need to know to get your location. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. So we went over the process of building a plugin inside of Android Studio. We talked about how to add in the Godot lib and actually build it out and import it into Godot. We went through the process of hooking it up and coding it here and setting up our permissions and requesting for permissions. So we actually came here and set up our permissions and connected them and stuff like that. So that's great. And finally, we exported it out and tested it out on Android, and it worked. So if you like this video, hit that like button. If you dislike this video, hit that dislike button, because I make content for you guys and I want to make sure that you guys are enjoying the content that I make. Now, this video was a viewer request, so your requests actually get done here. So go ahead and throw any requests or comments in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at them and see if I can help build things for you guys in the future to help you guys out. So anyway, that's again all I have for you guys today. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks.